This is the Speak Easy podcast where we talk about the successful or not so successful way for you to be a paid speaker or author. I am your host, of course, the person, the voice coach, but not just that, guys. I'm super excited about our guest for today. Listen, let's just put the cards on the table. If you are looking for something to change, you have to be willing to change. I get it that we are in our little comfy place with our Snuggie and it feels so good, but that is not the way for you to make it to 7 figures, 6 figures, 10 figures, heck, 4 figures. You can't do it from the comfort zone, guys. And so we're talking all about drastic change in business and what it really takes to make that drastic change happen. So I'm super excited about our guest today. Hey, Josh.
Hey, how we doing? I can't compete with that introduction though. Like I got energy, but there's levels to this energy that I can't reach that.
That's okay. It's because I'm a unicorn. I understand.
I saw it in the background. I get it.
So tell the studio audience a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to dive right into today's topic. I'm excited about today's topic.
Yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur. I own a few businesses, the largest being 9 figures. I do lots of stuff. I do speaking events, mainly for my software business. I have a SaaS business called RevuKangaroo, and I help people drastically change their business through automation and reviews and social proof. I've been doing that for a few years now, actually. And I don't know. That's me. No one likes to talk about themselves.
That's okay. Not a problem. I'll talk about you for you. But only in a good way. I won't do it in a bad way.
I thought we were being honest here, but okay.
Only in a good way. On camera. When the camera goes off, it's,
Yeah, that's a different story. I get it. Yeah.
So when we talk about that drastic change, so first and foremost, let's just be real. Let's be honest. There's this idea of becoming the success, the overnight success, and you do it, you go in and on day 2, you're selling 1 million copies of your book, or you go in your second opportunity that you speak, they're going to pay you $50,000. And that's really just not how it goes. So before they get all of those beautiful ideas in their head, what would be the first thing that you would tell them if they were coming to you?
Yeah, so kind of like what you described, I think differently than most people. I'm just being totally honest. Like some people, I've heard this so many times. There's nothing wrong with it, but if you shoot for the moon, if you fall short, or if you shoot for the stars, you fall short, you hit the moon. I don't really believe in that, and I don't live that in any way. I'm just being honest. I don't set long-term goals, like 5-10-year plans. I don't know what I'm doing for lunch. So that's just me. I think a goal is like a ladder, right? I need something that I can reach up and I can grab and pull myself up, right? So it's all short-term actionable goals. So like my first paid speaking event, I'll be honest, I trip into most things into my business. However, there was a lot of setup to be able to trip into that, right? So it's a process. Like there's nothing you could do. I've never seen any business or any person's like, I did this one thing and it was only this one thing, and all of a sudden I'm rich. It's a combination of a lot of really small things, in my opinion. So it's does that kind of answer? Like it's complicated. It's not meant to be easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it.
You're right. It's very complicated. There is a process to it. There's a strategy to it. And you made a good point, because a lot of times people think, oh, yeah, then I'm going to just find a strategy that they did to get on Oprah's show. Well, most times by the time they got to that point, it's because of all of the other things that you didn't see them do. It's all the behind the scene things. And that means the early mornings, sometimes the late nights. Now, I can't do the late nights. I'm an early morning. I'm an early bird.
Yeah.
That part.
So sleep is for the weak. We can sleep later. Arnold Schwarzenegger said in a speech once, is like, sleep 6 hours a day. And if you need more sleep than that, sleep faster. I don't know what the hell that means, but
okay, exactly. Decide what you're going to do. And I was looking at your bio and I had to laugh because I was looking at, the company that you helped transform from, I think it was the 7 million to 100 million. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, our
and
business took about 13 years.
You got like so many people who are just trying to get to the million.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would look at that and go, oh, great. If he did, immediately all they see is the 7 million to the 100 million. And they don't see any of the in between. So let us know, what is one of those things that's the in between that they don't normally see?
Yeah, really, there's two people that see that. There's the person that sees the 7 million to 100 million, and they're like, oh my God, I'm just going to copy what he does or whatever.
Yeah.
There's also the other person's like 100 million. Like, I can never do that. Let's be clear. 100 million was never the goal, never the thought process. It's not like, you know what, 13 years from now, we're going to be 100 million. It was like, no, we're at 7 million. We need to get to 7.5. You know what I mean? Like, how do we do that? And it's just a bunch of small stuff. I truly believe like the real successful people in business are the basic guys, right? You do simple things consistently, really well, right? The blocking and tackling. Like if you're a football guy, right? Having great special teams is great. Special teams doesn't win Super Bowls though. You know what I mean? It's the blocking and the tackling. And if you did that better than the other team, it doesn't matter how good their players are, how good their quarterback is, all of that fades. So it's the simple stuff over and over again that makes a difference.
So I want you to repeat that last part. It's the special teams. I want you to repeat that statement, please.
This is recorded. We got to repeat it? No, special teams don't win Super Bowls. They don't win Super Bowls. They're flashy and they're fun. They're exciting. But that's not what actually gets you across the line. It's the blocking and the tackling, the thing that no one cares about, no one likes. It's not exciting, but that's what wins Super Bowls. That's what grows businesses.
That part. The stuff that people don't want to do. Because everybody wants to be on the special team, right? Well, depending on how you look at it. Depending
football,
on how
the specials team, yeah.
Football specials team. You want to be on that specials.
Yeah.
But I love it though, because for me, I found that coming into the industry was really hard. I'm an introvert, because I'm an introvert. I'm a behind the scenes person. I'm not the one that's always, out in the crowd. Networking freaking like scared the heck out of me. I hate networking. I hate business cards. I'm sorry to all the business gurus. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry, but I hate business cards. And I had to find ways to network by just building relationships. How have you used building relationships in not just what you do for your clients, but also in training your clients and what they can do to grow?
I mean, relationships are everything to a point. Like, yeah, I have a really good software product. Yeah, I have a really good home service business. Yeah, I have a really good marketing firm that does good actionables, but it's not really relevant if I can't get in front of people. It's not really relevant if I can't get them excited. It's not really relevant if we don't have a relationship when things go wrong, because no matter what, things go wrong eventually, sometimes really, really small, sometimes bigger. If they don't feel comfortable enough to call me and figure it out as opposed to just dipping out, right? So it's all about the relationships. Like, if you can't get in front of somebody and be relatable to someone, you're going to have trouble in business. Doesn't mean you have to be relatable to everybody. That's not what it's about. But you need to be relatable to people that matter to you. Relatable, likable. I mean, one of my true gifts is I've read a business book since I was 15 every month. Every single month I've read a different business book. Very first book I ever read was How to Win Friends and Influence People, like changed my life. I literally live by that. And that's why I went into marketing. That's why, ultimately I'm kind of like a sales guy at heart. I love doing sales. It's exciting. helping people and changing their lives, right? So relationships are really the key. Like if you don't feel comfortable talking with people, entrepreneur is probably not the right route for you. And then it's not for everybody. And that's okay.
I have to agree with you there. It's definitely not for everybody. Unfortunately, most people get into it and don't realize that it's not for them until they've gotten into it, kind of lost a couple dollars.
Yeah.
A little bit of their sense. They've lost some things in order for them to realize that maybe this wasn't the best.
Yeah, a lot of people think being an entrepreneur and owning your own business is like, oh, it's gonna be so easy, it's gonna be so simple. And like I see Josh, he doesn't work 40 hours anymore. He gets to travel the world. I was like, yeah, but you didn't see the 14 years before that where I was working 75 hours a week, grinding every day. You go from like, if you have a job, you have one boss, maybe two. I have thousands, and they're called clients, and they're way pickier and way more difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's a different mentality. Like you have to know what you're getting into.
You now that's one of the greatest things that I love about entrepreneurship and about building this business is that I'm in the first and most of the studio audience, they're in that first 5 years. And I just passed that 5 years. And you understand truly why people say a couple different things, why they say entrepreneurs don't make it past that 5-year mark. That part. And why they say that, you should really check in on entrepreneurs because every other day they're thinking, should I choose to be a stripper today or an entrepreneur today? Which
a stripper's an entrepreneur. Come on now.
Which one am I going to do today? Am I going to do my business or am I just going to go find a pole and a strip club? Because there's so many different things that we come up against. Now, with that being said, I know that with you being in business for this amount of time, that it has not been an easy road. What has been a blunder for you or something that you look back now and you're like, it's a lesson now, but in that moment, it hurt?
Oh, I've made all kinds of mistakes. Let's be clear. I've failed at a lot of stuff. I remember when I first got into the business, right? So it's a home service business. Back then, Yellow Pages were a really big thing, right? I remember I did this big ad of Yellow Pages, which is totally fine. I spent a lot of money, took a lot of risk with it, and I printed the wrong freaking phone number. Yeah. You can't take that back on Yellow Pages. It is what it is. I wasn't paying attention. Things like that happen. That was a really stupid mistake, but I've made smart mistakes too, right? Where things just didn't work out and I lost a lot of money and made bad people decisions. But those were like, I knew there was risk into it. Whereas, that Yellow Page ad was just pure stupidity. It still hurt. But I mean, there's nothing like, a lot of people will tell you like that they're trying to sell you like that it gets easier. It doesn't get easier. We have 550 team members. I have multiple team members in multiple companies. I'm helping out a huge startup in San Francisco. Like I have more responsibilities than ever, like more stress than ever. Like it doesn't go away. You know what I mean? And it becomes who you are too. Like I don't imagine myself ever being able to retire, not because of financially, but because like I would lose my mind.
Trying to figure out what are you going to do with those hours in the day? Like
Monday is my favorite day of the week because I'm like I gotta get
I love
back
Mondays.
into stuff.
Mondays are amazing.
Yeah, most people don't like Mondays though. It's like I gotta go back to work. I'm like, dude, I'm bored. Like I gotta go do stuff now. So it's just a different mentality, and like it's not for everybody. It really isn't. But if you're driven and you care and you're willing to sacrifice for it, you can do some amazing things.
Now, have you ever had to fire a client?
Oh, yeah. Not thousands.
Wait, don't smile. You're not supposed to get smile about it. You're supposed to have a straight face.
No, firing a client is one of the best feelings you'll ever have in your entire life when it's all said and done. It's like, this is not worth doing. Yeah, we can't work together anymore. Of course I'd fire clients. How can you not and grow?
And that part. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I like to work large scale. Like, I'm not in it to make $100,000 anymore. I'm not in it to make $1 million anymore. I'm working large scale. Like, and when you do large scale, you have to make systematic decisions. You have to build processes. You have to change things. You have to think differently. And if you think that one client that's bringing you $10,000 is worth, 30 hours worth of work every week, you're wrong. Like that time can be better spent somewhere else. Opportunity cost is the name of the game for business. You could do anything for any individual client, but does that make sense, dollars and cents, compared to spending time doing something else?
That's interesting because a lot of times as we're scaling our business, you'll get some people that tell you scale, scale, scale. And in all actuality, let's really talk about what scaling is. Scaling is, I come to a realization that what I have is worth more than what I'm charging now, so I can charge more.
I mean, charging more is definitely one way to scale. There's a few ways to scale, though. It's not just that, but yeah.
Don't try. No, wait. Give it to us. Come on. Don't hold back.
Well, you know the ways to scale. You can get more customers. You get repeat usage, right? Essentially, have customers spend more with you. You do acquisitions. There's a bunch of ways to scale. Raise your prices. All of these are ways to make more money. I wouldn't say necessarily scale, though. When I think scale, and I think like moving more customers through the process, getting more transactions, whatever that looks like for you. It's different for every business, right? And do this too, right? Like scaling's not for everybody. Scaling's not for every entrepreneur. There's a difference between having a business and a high-paid job. Most entrepreneurs have a high-paid job. What I mean by that is, if you stop working tomorrow, does your business survive and grow without you? And if the answer is no, then you have a high-paid job.
That's it. Oh, that hurt a couple people, I'm sure. And we'll send, bad.
There's nothing wrong with having a high-paid job. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
It's nothing wrong with having it if you know that that's what you have. If you have the understanding that that's what you have. Somebody in the audience or somebody who's going to listen to this is going to say, wait, do I have a high-paid job or am I an entrepreneur? What's really going on here?
Yeah. I mean, you're still an entrepreneur with a high-paid job because you're still doing your own thing, but you don't have a business, right? A business sustains without you. It's sellable. It's transferable. It's scalable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could hire people today to take over businesses. I do. And I can walk away and I still make money and still grows because I built systems in place that you don't need me anymore. That's the goal for me. Is like I build something I get really excited about it and I build to a point where I'm not needed anymore. And I kind of get bored and I start something new.
I think, that's the greatest place to be in, where you know that I can train somebody or bring somebody in to take over what I'm doing. I can leave this. It's not going to die within 2 weeks or within a month. And I can add something else to it. I know that we look at Jeff Bezos and how many different things that he has connected to him. We look at Shaq and how many things he has connected to them. It's okay. I'm done in this place, but I'm not going to lose the revenue coming from this place. Mm-hmm. But I can add something else to it. I think with Shaq, I just saw he personally wasn't in my email. I don't want to start no scandals. But I just got an email where he just launched a eco-friendly ink tank for Epson printers. And I was like,
that's weird.
When did you get connected to printers?
He likes printing stuff, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. But it's that idea of don't even think that you have to stay in that one lane. I know we talk about, be careful going from lane to lane. No, you can go from lane to lane. There's this little doohickey on your vehicle where if you flick it, you let people behind you know that you're moving. It's called a turning signal. You flick it and then move. But there's so many people, especially in the beginning stages, that just try to move.
Yeah, the only caveat I would say to that, you're right, it's totally okay to change lanes, but there's an ideal way to change lanes, right? In business specifically. And the ideal way to change lanes is kind of what I just described I'm doing, in my opinion. Now, of course, I think what I'm doing is right, so it's all relative, but you either build something to where it's sustainable and grows itself, or you build something to a point where you realize it's not sustainable and can't be grown. Then you could change lanes. If so many entrepreneurs in the beginning change lanes constantly without really committing and focusing on, hey, would this have worked? If you exhausted that and it's like, hey, this really isn't going to work, or hey, now I have this built where it is working, then change lanes then, right? You can't do, I'm not that guy that has, 50 jobs. And I think Shaq is a totally different scenario than me. Like Shaq has a personal brand. Everybody has a personal brand to a point, right? But Shaq is the brand. Donald Trump is the brand. I'm not, we're comparing those two, totally different, right? But like, it doesn't matter what they do. They just get to put their name on it. And because of that, they get business, right? I'll never have that, nor do I want that. I like actually building things.
You don't want Josh face on like,
I want my own printers. Yeah, let's do this.
Or like China.
That's disturbing in so many ways. We want people to eat. We don't want to like scare them off.
It can be like collector's China. Special edition.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Now, you said that, your first speaking event, that you kind of stumbled into it. I get how that happens. I already know that. And most of the studio audience, they know that part. I want to know, how did you do for that first time that you were speaking on stage?
So I'm an anomaly a little bit. We could be like, I could do some weird stuff and stumble in. And I'm very good at like, just no parameters, just going and figuring it out. Always have been. I don't plan for anything, which I know is not good. It's just my personality. But so my very first job, the speaking event, I literally spoke on Zig Ziglar's stage, in front of a couple thousand people. That was the first time I ever done public speaking at all, relative, right? And I made a pitch from stage, and I think I closed like 70 grand right there.
Wait a minute. So the first time I got on stage, I thought I was going to pass out. And you get on stage and make 70 grand?
Yeah, in like a half hour. Now, let's be fair. Like, that was a bigger audience. I could have and should have done much better. I did the next time, the time after that, and the time after that. I've made a lot of money on stages now. Not just, I technically don't get paid for speaking. What I do is I pitch from stage instead.
Wait, pause, time out. Say that one more time, because I can't stand when people say, I want to be a paid speaker and they have to pay me to speak on their stage. Oh my God, stop that. Say it one more time.
I have gotten paid, but I generally don't get paid for speaking. It's not important to me. What I care about is being able to pitch from stage and talk to people. I know if I speak to 1,000 people, I should close a couple $100 grand. And I can either take a $20,000 speaking fee and they won't let me pitch, or I could take a couple $100 grand. Now, the reason I could do that is because I have a product in the system to sell afterwards. And when I say pitch from stage, sometimes it's a super soft pitch. It's like, hey, if you want to learn more, come talk to me afterwards. Sometimes it's a full-on, stack pitch, Russell Brunson style. It depends what they'll allow me to do. And we'll talk about different topics too, right? But it's growing that personal branding. Ultimately, if people like you and you have something good, they'll buy from you eventually, right? And you give value. So as long as your presentation gives a ton of value, like, don't worry about getting paid for speaking events. If you have something to offer them afterwards. If you have nothing to offer them, then like, what choice do you have?
Exactly. I think you just explained like the most epic way of doing you killed your first speaking event. Most people are like, how many thousand? I still ain't got to that part, and I've been speaking for years. But with that being said, you did talk about, and this is one of the things I want to hit on, is that you're a reader. That sounded really weird once I said it out my mouth.
I can read good.
like as if you were not going to be a reader, like as if you couldn't read. That's not what.
Well, here's the thing. Actually, if we're being totally honest, I used to read. Now I listen to Audible. Because I'm lazy.
I'm right there with you. Me and Audible, best friends.
Yeah.
But it's not because I'm lazy.
I don't like reading. I'm just being honest. It's like I could listen to Avo when I'm driving, on planes. You know, that's what I do. Reading just, yep, I just don't do it
Okay,
anymore.
so what's your current book that you're reading?
Right now, so I tend to reread some books every year. This is a book I read a long time ago. It's just Ego is the Enemy.
Oh, I don't have that one on my list. Hold, please.
But I mean, I read at least 12 books a year. Listen to, if we're being
That's
honest.
it. I try to do about at least what. Well, okay, I'm doing more than 12 a year. Doing maybe about one or two a week.
You know, as weird as it sounds, and this is counterintuitive to like a lot of people say too, I think you could read too much. I think you can
You
because you tend not to absorb when you're going from book to book to book to book.
not
But like,
absorb and not implement.
yeah, a book that you read, like I'm really looking for two or three things max. And some books you can get more than that, but I'm just gonna be honest with myself. I'm only gonna implement two or three things, right? So ideas are cheap. That's all kinds of entrepreneurs follow this. Ideas are cheap and worthless. Best idea in the world that hasn't been implemented will get killed by a halfway decent idea that's implemented well.
Now that implementation part is I think where a lot of people get tripped up.
That's where like 95% of entrepreneurs fail. They know what they should do. They know it just never happens, at least at the level it should.
So now, what's your big bodacious goal? I can't really. Do you have a big bodacious goal at this point?
I'm not a big goal person. We
Well,
already talked about it.
just something where you're like, it doesn't have to be a business goal. Like maybe you want to go hella jumping or.
I have not been hella jumping. I've been skydiving a few times, but not hella jumping. That's a new one. That's kind of cool. Yeah, we should do that. Um, no, I mean, for me right now, it's really like I like I have a bunch of team members now, a ton of them. It's goals to help them achieve things that they couldn't do without me. Whether that's vacations or trips or buying a house they never thought they could afford, or you know, get affording that engagement ring for their fiance that they always wanted to buy, or whatever that is. Like that's my real goals, right? Now, like a lot of people say, "Hey, I want to be a billionaire." Like I know what it takes to be a billionaire. I don't care. If it happened, it would happen, but like it's not relevant to me. Um, I don't chase money anymore. Like, and that took me a long time. Like everyone said this, and I've heard this for years. Like, if you chase money, you become its slave. If you let money chase you, it becomes your slave. I kid you not. I heard that for like 15, 20 years, and I never understood until about probably 2 years ago. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So like, if you don't understand what that means too, you're not special. Everyone doesn't really know what that means until you get to a certain point, I guess.
So two things just happened. For those of you listening, every female that's listening to this episode just said, "What was his name again? Where can I find him?" And every entrepreneur that has a heart of service just gave you a standing ovation, even though they're listening to this on whatever device at
Yeah, that's
whatever
weird.
area.
Right in front of their computer, they stood up in
They
front of
just
their
stood
computer
up
and
and
clapped.
gave you a standing
No,
ovation because
no,
they said that is where we're trying to be.
no, no. Well, I mean, it's not easy. It's not always fun, but that's the goal. Like, it really is. Like when you stop worrying about what money does and you start just delivering value, like the money has legitimately just came.
That's it. I love it. Oh my goodness, y'all. This has been okay. I've gotten over my starstruckness.
With Shaq, we're talking about Shaq again then, yeah.
Now, with everything that you've accomplished so far, we already talked about, you not wanting to retire. So at least you got another, what, 40, 50 years?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
I said, yeah, I'll hold that. I'll grab that. I like that. I like that answer. Do you ever see yourself taking it to another level and maybe going and I know that you have, of course, you have your employees and you train them, but doing something where you're training people outside of those who work with you?
I mean, I do that with clients, right? But like a training program or a coach or something like that effect. I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but it's not in my short-term horizon. It's not on my radar right now. What I'm trying to do is just like learn and do different things. And me, it's all about self-growth. My whole success, my whole lifestyle, my whole everything I do is really based off one thing. Like I want to be better at one thing, like literally one, than I was yesterday. If I just keep doing that, I'm good. So like I do weird things now. Like now I'm working with a company called Pulse based out of San Francisco, like $1 billion company, right? It's way out of my normal range. Um, thousands of team members, which is more than I'm used to by a lot, and helping them grow their systems and learning like, hey, I've never had to work with investment money, right? They got a board and they've raised a ton of money, ridiculous amounts of money. Like that's a learning process for me. I'm super excited about. And I've actually, since college, I've never worked in the corporate world since like right after college, right? So I was just curious that could I actually survive in the corporate world, right? So I've been doing that a few months and doing pretty well and enjoying that. So like, I don't think coaching is the way I'm going to grow. Like I like learning myself, and then I always keep mentors and mentees, right? I keep 2 mentors and 2 mentees all the time, and that's about the most coaching I do outside of people I'm working with in some way.
So why only 2 mentees?
Purely time constraints.
Got it. I thought it because I was like, I figured it was either going to be because of time, or you were going to say because like 2's your special number, or 4 was your special number.
No, it's just it's and you take a mentee, I take it seriously. You get an hour of my time every week, and I'm available by call when you need stuff, right? It ends up being a decent amount, and I just don't have a whole lot of time anymore.
Got it. Understood. Oh my goodness, this has been an amazing episode. I'm going to go back and re-listen to it myself. I've been writing down some of the little nuggets and stuff. You'll be seeing it in the show notes, of course, of some of the things that you said. And, be relatable to people that matter to you. And I want to end it out on that, because that was the key thing that really switched gears for me, because the ones that matter to me are my children. And, so if I'm doing something and it's not something I want them to do, or it's not something that, I would think would be a good fit for that, then I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to walk away. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do, because that means that sometimes you have to walk away from not just opportunities, but also from people.
Yeah, no, that's a hard lesson to learn, but you want not just entrepreneurial, but you want great personal growth. Like you are what you think, and you think with who you hang out with is what modifies and controls what you think and how you react. Cutting people sometimes is the easiest, fastest way to grow, and that's not cool. It's not fun, but it's the truth.
I love it. Okay, so let everybody know where they can find you, how they can, well, they won't get your phone number because they're not a mentee, but how they can connect with you online, or maybe they have something and they're like, you know what, I know that Josh is the person that I need to be working with.
Yeah, so here's what I would say. Like anymore, there was a time I gave out my personal email. If you wanted to find it, it wouldn't be hard to find, I promise. But talk to my team. Just info@RevuKangaroo.com, REVU kangaroo.com, or call the office. We're based right here in Phoenix, so it's 602-456. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking the number right now. 602-456-8837. There we go. 8837. Don't judge me.
This is a non-judgment zone. You're good.
Yeah. Call, shoot an email. If you really want to get a hold of me, you'll be able to get a hold of me pretty easy. But if you need help, like I have an amazing team that did amazing thing. I got a president run RevuKangaroo the day that grew a $94 million business from scratch. So like I'm not the only resource in the world, especially on my team. I have some amazing team members. So give us a ring, shoot us an email, chat with us.
Definitely. You know, again, we all know that teamwork is the way to go, because if you're trying to get to that next level, or that higher level, I should say, you definitely need a team. I know they throw around the whole solopreneur thing, but you go ahead and be a solopreneur and you'll be stressed.
A solopreneur, by definition, you have a high-paying job, not a business.
That's it. That's the way to end it. Yes. Yes. So guys, listen, let us know how this particular episode resonated with you. Leave us a review over on iTunes up until they change it, that part, bit.ly/speakeasy podcast show, all lowercase. But not just that, guys, if you're a speaker and author, I would love to have you on to talk about your journey, unsuccessful or successful, because we want to be able to help those who listen in. And remember, I appreciate each and every one of you that listen in, because without the studio audience, there is no Speakeasy podcast. I'm your host, Altavis Pelzer. And until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.